There's a new look of love we're seeing more and more these days. From entertainment to red carpets to the Supreme Court.
He's been the best husband, father, and friend I could ever imagine.
Take a look at all of these women. What do they have in common? Black women dating and in many cases marrying white men. 27-year-old Charity Lawson might just be the next high-profile black woman with a white husband. The star of ABC's The Bachelorette is looking for love on season 20 of the dating competition. Only 9 of her 25 suitors are black. She recently sat down with R. Kennedy Rue to discuss finding love across the color line.
I will say, I probably did have a type, obviously when I was a lot younger, and I think that's just, what your environment is, that's who you're around. But, as I've gotten older, as I've gotten to know myself, it's I don't like to say that I have a type because I connect with people for who they are, their personalities, what they exude as a person, their characteristics. That's what stands out to me. Yeah. And that doesn't determine based off of your race.
Charity is the 4th black bachelorette. 2 of the 3 before her
Will you marry me?
ended up choosing white men. But black women with white men isn't just the stuff of Hollywood. It's a trend that's growing in real life, too. In 1980, 3% of black women were married to white men. Today, that number is 4 times that, at 12%.
Black women really do love black men.
As a group, black women have been the slowest to dip their toes into the interracial dating pool, one of the most racially loyal when it comes to relationships.
I don't care what nobody say. When a black man loves you,
But now, they are diving in.
I think they have a problem when it comes to black women having interracial relationships.
I would argue that when black women are seen as deviating from I want to have quotes here, upholding the black family structure, that is received differently than when black men do it.
Historically, interracial dating in the black community meant black men dating white women, black men twice as likely to have a spouse of another race. So much so that it became a cliche. But more and more black women have been facing a dilemma. They're the most educated group in the country and also the most likely to be unpartnered at a staggering 62%. When it comes to their prospective partners, black men are less likely than sisters to have completed high school or received a college degree. So black women are 53% less likely to marry a man with advanced degrees. And 1 out of every 6 black men between 25 and 54 have disappeared from daily life. Incarceration and early deaths, the main drivers behind their absence, leading many black women to expand their horizons.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it.
So if you're then looking for a partner who you see as your equal and you're including education and income level in your determination of who's your quote unquote equal, then it makes logical sense. You might also be in spaces and environments that are predominantly white.
For many black women, it isn't about lack or problems with black men, but about expanding options.
I don't think it's a black man, white man. I think just people overall need to treat people how they want to be treated.
Full of love themselves, they didn't.
Interracial marriage has only been legal for 55 years. A black woman and her white husband breaking that barrier.
I'm gonna build you a house. Right here. Our house.
The 2016 film Loving depicted the story of Mildred and Richard Loving.
In here! Richard! What you doing in bed with that woman?
In 1958, the couple was sentenced to a year in prison for marrying each other. They appealed their conviction all the way to the Supreme Court.
You realize this case could alter the Constitution of the United States.
And in June 1967, the court issued a unanimous decision overturning their convictions and making interracial marriage legal. But the history of black women and white men hasn't always been so loving.
I made a choice, Mama. The same choice you made with Master Wales.
I didn't have no choice.
For centuries, an untold number of enslaved black women were raped and abused by their white enslavers, who viewed them as property.
God give her to me.
Today, these relationships still have their challenges.
black folks don't really have a good relationship with boats.
That's very true, or water.
Kind of like Jews with trains, right?
Bingo.
Are you trying to compare the Holocaust to slavery?
Dr. Vanessa Gonlin is an assistant professor at the University of Georgia who did a study on black women who date white men and the challenges they face.
It's a very uncomfortable conversation.
You ever figure out what happened with the potatoes and the ETA on this?
Most of the judgment comes from black men and white women. So one of my interviewees said she was literally walking down the street with her white male partner, and a black man called at her come back home system. And it stood out to me because, first of all, it's an example of a black man saying, like, I'm not happy with this dynamic, but it's deeper than that because he's saying come back home as if she's lost her way, as if she's disconnected from her community, as if like she is further distanced from blackness. And then when it was white women who showed discontent, usually it would be white women who were the mothers or the ex-wives or ex-girlfriends of the white male partner. So someone much closer to the relationship, which then meant that they had a different amount of power. So for example, there's one black woman whose white male partner had a white ex-wife, and she said, you cannot see our kids anymore if you continue dating that N-word.
Despite the challenges, for an increasing number of black women, following their heart is still the best option.
I mean, obviously it's 2023, so.
Right.
We have just, I can't even say like get over it, but it's like that's really what it is. It's like get over it. This is where we are at. And all I can wish and pray is that like hopefully at some point in their lives, like their eyes are open to what really is love.
What's your advice to other black women about exploring their options?
Yeah, my advice is just truly stay open. I think the most important point is truly just knowing yourself, knowing what you want. Love, at the end of the day, love is love.